Hi guys, a couple of months ago I did a review of the very excellent Ulanzi & Coleman 0Y Travel Tripod, and even though I had a very generous discount code with that video, some people were saying it's still a little too much to pay for a travel tripod. Do I have any recommendations of a more budget-friendly travel tripod? Well, introducing the Sirui Traveler 5C and 7C. Now you might think with a name like Traveler 5C and 7C that these things would be very similar tripods, and oh my friend, you would be very wrong about that, like I was when I assumed it. So let's talk about it. So first of all, thanks to Sirui for sending over the 7C. I already owned the 5C, so I was happy to review this and let you guys know about a more budget option in terms of a great travel tripod. Now these, again, very, very different. This guy, very, very small and lightweight. This is all about the portability, and this guy is all about the balance between portability and an extremely stable tripod out in the elements. 7C is a much bigger tripod, as you can see from me just holding them here. This guy extends his full height to 65.5 inches, whereas this guy extends his full height to 54 inches. He can support 17.6 pounds, whereas this guy supports 8.8 pounds. This tripod is certainly not heavy, but it is 3.46 pounds, whereas this one is 1.87 pounds. It is like you are carrying nothing. So packed up, the 7C is about 19 inches and the 5C is about 13 inches. So as of September 18th, 2022, the 7C costs about $160 and the 5C costs about $115. Now there are also aluminum versions of these tripods. This is the 7C, 5C, C for carbon fiber, and there's also the A version, 5A and 7A, which is aluminum. Now those ones will be a little bit cheaper, but they will also be heavier and vibrations will be picked up more. Carbon fiber is the way to go if you can swing the extra few bucks, and seeing how the price difference is not that much between the aluminum and the carbon fiber for each of these, I would definitely go with the carbon fiber if you can. Let me talk about the 7C and its features for a little bit so we don't have to go back and forth. This thing is built like a tank. My goodness, it is a solid tripod. Everything about it is solid. It is just, the vibrations are just, they can't do anything to this tripod here. The front column here, it extends, so I like to personally shoot it like this with the legs extended out. It is still plenty good for me. I can basically hold my eye to it when these joints are extended here and I don't have the column extended. But even with the column extended, the vibrations are kept to such a minimum here. It's so hard for you to get camera shake in it. I did a test here. I used this right here. That is my electric toothbrush, and I stole this idea from Chris and Jordan over at DP Review, because in order to test tripods, they were putting a vibration device on the bottom of the leg of the tripod, but they got lady vibrating devices. Do you know what I'm saying? And since I am not a disgusting pervert, and also I have no access to my wife's things, I used my electric toothbrush, and it worked like a charm because that thing really vibrates. I taped it to the bottom leg here, and let me just show you the difference between the two tripods. So fully extended, this is the 7C. This is without vibrations, and then with vibrations, as you can see, it vibrates a little bit here. Now I will show you the 5C, and as you can see here, it has much more vibrations when fully extended. That is definitely not going to be as good for you as the bigger, heavier, more solid 7C. But these are extreme conditions. I was using a shutter speed of 1/30, and I was using a 300mm lens with no stabilization on whatsoever, and that toothbrush it was like an earthquake. It was just buzzing like crazy. It's got this really solid ball head where you can do pans. The panning button is separate from the ball head, so you can move the ball head around, tighten that, and then you can still pan, which I think is essential for being out there. I'll talk about the 5C and that in a bit. But, and also it has an Arca Swiss plate, as you can see right here, cover up my beautiful eyes. And what is great with the Arca Swiss plates, and this isn't on any of my other tripods, whether it's the Ulanzi, the Peak Design, whatever you want. This guy, he has, can you see it there? It is a D-ring. See that? So you can actually just tighten it with your fingers. It also has a slot for an Allen key and a slot for a coin. So Sirui is listening to people, and you are covered under every circumstance, and that D-ring is solid. The Arca Swiss plate is just a chunk of metal. It is everything about this tripod, very solid. Now, because it has the center column that can't be taken apart, you can't really go too low to the ground for your landscape shots, but what they do let you do is take the shaft out altogether, the center column, and then you can do the undersling mode to get as low as you want. And also, when you do take off the bottom here for the undersling mode, you will see it has a little Allen key right there. Now, unfortunately, that doesn't fit some of the parts of the Sirui, like the Arca Swiss plate. You can't just tighten it with that, but it does tighten some of the little structures here on the tripod itself. So it is great that it has something in there. I do wish, though, that it matched up with, say, the tripod, the Arca Swiss, so I could tighten that, or maybe tighten the joints of the legs here. I think that would have been a little more useful. And of course, it has the hook here on a spring, so you can put down more weight even though this is crazy stable, you can also put more weight, put your backpack on there, drag it down even further so that you won't get any camera shake whatsoever. And the 7C also comes with everything you need, including spikes that you can put on instead of the rubber feet, and a little strap for your wrist if you are using it in monopod mode. Now, each of these tripods do come with a carry bag, but it is the minimum of a carry bag that you could possibly expect. It's still nice to be able to sling it over your shoulder, but it is, basically a nylon bag with a string, and I'm still glad they include, hey, you want to, you can stick the tripod and other things in there. There's more room in there. A pair of undies, because maybe you'll soil your pants when you see that beautiful photo you just took with one of these two tripods. I like that it has two bubble levels. There's one here on the top, so when your camera's on there, that'll cover that up, but it won't cover this one up down here. That's some smart thinking, Sirui. Smart thinking. It's got really nice foam grips here on two of the legs, which make it nice for carrying when it's cold weather. Although, really, you should be wearing gloves, but still, sometimes you forget your gloves, you know what I mean? And also, under this little rubber gasket here, it has a 1/4-inch thread. So if you wanted to hook up a monitor or something else, you can just thread it right in there. My Ulanzi has this as well, but I always love it when tripods include a little 1/4-inch thread on the side for other mounting possibilities. Now, it does have the twisting locks and not the switches, so that is personal preference. I know Chris from DP Review, he likes the twisting locks. I personally like the switches because I can see if I have locked it, because I have often forget things. So, and I find them also a little bit quicker to use, but I have no problem with these. I have lots of tripods with these guys right here. So, and also depending on who you are, you may love this feature as well, and that is Monopod. You can just unscrew this leg right here, and what you have is a lovely monopod to take around. Speaking of DP Review, again, I know Jordan Drake, he loves his monopods, so, this, and you just attach the center column to this guy, ready to go, monopodding it up. Now, personally, I don't use monopods a lot, but if you are someone who uses monopods a lot, look at this feature on this guy. Fantastic. And now let's talk about the even more affordable and ridiculously light 5C. It's got this little hook here on the bottom, so if you want to hang some weight, and you definitely will want to hang some weight on this guy if you are out in the elements. There's, it's a windy day, something like that, then this travel tripod is far less stable than the 7C, as you saw from that photo with the vibrations, and also just with the way it is made. The legs, You know, they're thin, they're small, and this center column just extends up off the base here and extends even further if you want it. And this is still only 54 inches when you go straight to the ground. So you still have to bend a little bit for that guy. So definitely not a super tall tripod and definitely not a super sturdy tripod. It is still carbon fiber and it does a pretty good job under, you know, regular conditions. But if you're in water or if you're getting some wind, then I would definitely want the 7C. Now, while this guy doesn't have a monopod, he does have a couple of tricks up his sleeve. You can take the center column off altogether, attach the ball head right to the base here, and then splay the legs. And since there's no column hanging down here, you can get super low to the ground to take some shots. So that is quite cool. Now, there is a major problem I have with the 5C, which I also have the solution for, but first I'll tell you the problem, then I'll tell you the solution. The problem is that the panning head. There, you have to unscrew the ball head part to pan. So one knob controls the tightening of the ball head and the panning. So if you were trying to take panoramas and you have your camera set up and you just want it to turn from left to right, you can't really do that because you have to, in order to tighten your camera, then now you can't move it back and forth. The ball head is no good on this thing, in my opinion, and the solution to that is the 5CX. It is the exact same tripod, but with a better ball head. I happen to have that here as well. See, this is the ball head for the 5CX, and as you can see, it has an independent button here for panoramas, and you can tighten that down. And then check out right here, the tightening lock for the ball head is much more robust on this thing, and it also has a better quick release system here. So I guess Sirui must have listened to the customers when they said, we want something to be able to pan, and we'd also like a little safety pin here, and they added that to this ball heads here. Now, so I think this one is an extra $10 if you get the 5CX, but I would recommend that highly. If you want the little 5C, get the 5CX, or you can get the 5C and replace the ball head if you have a ball head of your own, or if you don't care about taking panoramas or being able to move the camera from side to side. So for me, the adorable 5C or 5CX is my grab and go. If I'm not sure I'm going to use a tripod or I'm going to be inside, then I know for sure that this thing is going to be fine. Also, if I want to put up other accessories, maybe I want to put up a camera monitor or some kind of small light or something like that, then I can take this guy just in my bag. I can put this in like a carry-on, like a little side pouch, one of my man purses that I take for my camera gear. This is such a small little setup. And I would take the 7C if I was going on a real deal landscape photo hike, you know, like me and my friends, we're going out, we're gonna sleep in tents and see the sunrise, even though clearly I won't sleep in a tent. They can sleep in tents. I'm gonna go get a fancy hotel room, but I will want a tripod that can handle the elements and a bit of wind and a bit of vibration. And my goodness, this thing, it's not as light and doesn't pack down quite as small as something like the Peak Design or the Ulanzi 0Y, but it's also a fraction of the price, and it is a ridiculously solid carbon fiber tripod and is still 3.46 pounds. It's not the heaviest thing in the world, and it packs down pretty small. You just hang that on your backpack and you are good to go. And since I just mentioned the 0Y, if you haven't seen my Ulanzi Coleman 0Y tripod review, why don't you check that out now? It is a great balance of stability and portability. Of course, it is more expensive than the Sirui product, so go watch that, make your own decisions. Thanks for watching this. We'll talk to you again soon. Okay, bye-bye.